I have a question for you. How often have you felt depleted, controlled, or simply worn out after being around particular individuals? Those people are easy to recognize. They are the ones who demand too much, take from you without offering anything in return, and make you feel like you've been betrayed. Just imagine if I told you there was a technique to identify these individuals before they drain you emotionally and mentally. In this video, we'll go over 9 red flags that should be raised when someone asks for something specific. Make sure your tranquility, time, and vitality are safeguarded. Stay a while, for there will be no more surprises for you after you learn the signs. Number 1. Money with no intent to repay. Starting with one of the most often occurring and risky red flags, people who seek to borrow money but show no indication of planning to pay it back. Let us proceed. At first it could appear benign, a little favor here and there or a laid-back plea for help, but over time it develops into a pattern that can sap your finances as well as your emotions. Whether it's a few bucks or a big sum, these folks have an unwritten expectation that you will just give without considering anything in return. With his ageless wisdom, Marcus Aurelius tells us, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." Though required, money should never be used as a weapon for guilt or cause of emotional attachment. This is where we should draw a strong line. If you find yourself regularly feeling obliged to lend money, but the individual has no real intention of paying you back, or worse, displays no appreciation or acknowledgement. It's more about establishing limits that guard your mental calm than about being frugal. Let us now explore the more subtle dynamics of this scenario. Giving money could seem as a kind deed, and it is in many respects. The issue emerges when such kindness is taken for granted and someone sees your giving as an entitlement rather than a gift. And it is at this point the relationship starts to change. Your trust with the borrower begins to fade, and you find yourself emotionally burdened, either secretly hoping they will come through or always nagging them to pay you back. Still, the secret is not only about the money, it concerns respect. Consider money as your time and energy currency. Every dollar you make is the outcome of hours worked, given up sacrifices, and effort applied. Someone who borrows money and doesn't really plan to pay it back is effectively stating, your time, effort, and value aren't important. That is a subdued but rather potent kind of rudeness. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, Epictetus advised sensibly. Though true riches is about knowing when to stop and not feel guilty about it, it's easy to get stuck in the notion that we have to be giving to feel good about ourselves. The worst part is that should someone be continuously borrowing from you without intending to get it back, your emotional energy is more vulnerable than just your financial resources. You can find yourself doubting your own value since you let this imbalance to persist, or resenting them. Here is where the Stoic wisdom really speaks to me. It's more about your delivery than about what you provide. Help should come from a place of real kindness rather than expectation. Actually, Stoicism teaches us to remove ourselves from the result while yet giving freely. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor, Seneca noted. You are depriving yourself of peace if you are always seeking validation or forgiveness from someone who has not shown any indication of returning your favors. It's time to break the pattern when the assistance you provide becomes leverage or a tool for control. The real measure of generosity is your reaction when the money is no longer under your control. Are you awaiting return on loan? Are you letting bitterness to linger? If so, then indicates it was an investment masquerading as compassion rather than a real gift from beginning. The risk resides in this as well. Giving without defined limits or expectations invites people to use you. This erodes trust over time and results in an unhealthy relationship whereby you are giving more than you are receiving, and you wind up emotionally exhausted and financially dubious. The bottom line is thus: you should review the connection if someone asks you for money and displays no actual intention to pay it back, or if this is a regular occurrence. Recall, you are quite free to say no without feeling guilty. According to the Stoics, our calm and happiness originate from within. They are not derived from the acceptance or deeds of others. Saying no to requests that cause you discomfort or place you in a situation when you feel taken advantage of is okay. Your time, money, and effort are priceless. Do not let someone else define you. Trust your intuition to help you to preserve your resources and energy. You are free to terminate the links if providing money seems like a weight, or if the borrower keeps making excuses. You can still be courteous, but first guard your peace. Release any attachment to the concept of debt and decide to invest in relationships based on mutual respect and trust instead of obligation. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Understanding this will help you to get strength. Finding real strength in your relationships depends on you protecting your peace and keeping reasonable financial boundaries. Number 2, your time without giving anything in return. One resource you never have back off: time. One can get money lost again. Errors are amendable. But wasted time, it goes permanently once it disappears. The Stoic emphasis on preserving it was therefore really strong. Time is the most valuable thing a man can spend, Seneca reminds us. Still, if you let them, people would grab it from you without thinking twice about its worth. Consider the individuals in your life. Are there people that always want your time yet never seem to be there when you most need them? When the positions are reversed, do they treat your availability as a given, expecting you to drop everything for them, yet fail to reciprocate? You have to be careful of these folks. Real relationships should be in balance rather than depleting. One thing is to be there for a buddy, to listen, to assist, to encourage. That is inherent in being human. On the other hand, having your time handled as though it is limitless, as if your life exists just to serve others, is quite different. People that disregard your time are really disrespecting you indirectly. They are demonstrating to you that your priorities, objectives, or personal development have no worth. Rather than a person, they consider you as a resource. These folks do not usually show up clearly. Some of them pass for friends, often venting their issues but never paying attention to yours. Others pass for co-workers who always need just a few minutes of your assistance, minutes that run into hours. Some family members call for your attention but never treat you the same in return. Although they might not even be aware they are doing it, it does not negate the reality they are sapping your vitality. If you do not choose what thoughts and images you expose yourself to, Epictetus cautioned us, someone else will. Time is no different in this regard. Others will pick for you if you fail to decide how to spend your time. Furthermore, most of the time, their decisions will not coincide with your best interests. They only interact when they absolutely need something. They seldom follow up with you. They inquire not how you're doing. They are not interested in your hardships. Still, the instant they need a favor, they then suddenly remember you exist. They want you to listen non-stop, but never pay back the favor. Talking to them seems one-sided. While you encourage them, help them through their difficulties, and support them, the moment you most need someone to talk to, they vanish. They make you feel bad about giving yourself top priority. They act insulted the instant you create a limit. They might try to control you into giving them more of your time, call you selfish, make you feel as though you are deserting them, or try to change you. They never appreciate your calendar. They figure you are always free. They will phone you at random and demand you to drop everything. They will show up without warning. They will beg you to change your plans for them without even thinking through what you could be forfeiting. You should start changing if you find any of these tendencies in your life. First of all, remember that your time belongs to you. Not everyone qualifies for access to it. You owe people not limitless availability. There is no guilt involved in establishing limits. Actually, establishing limits is among the most effective things you can do for yourself. Among the best Stoic thinkers, Marcus Aurelius penned, "Think of yourself as dead. You live your life. Take what remains now and live it sensibly." Although this may sound depressing, it is really a call to action. Suppose you have already lived most of your life. Would you truly want to squander what still exists for those who value you? Beginning with your time, start choosing deliberately. Get around individuals that value it. People that donate as much as they consume. People who inspire you instead of deplete you. The most valuable thing you own is your time. Use it sensibly. Number 3, constant validation. Sometimes we all want validation. It is a normal aspect of life. One can find uplifting a nice remark, a compliment, or a token of gratitude. Still, there is a difference between sporadic comfort and a never-ending need of validation. Some people depend on validation. They do not only seek it, they cannot operate without continual validation, hence it becomes emotionally draining very soon when you start to be their source. These people live on outside validation and base their self-worth just on what others view of them. Every choice they make, every action they perform, must be confirmed by another person. If you don't give it, they start to doubt their value. If you do, it's merely a band-aid solution until they require more. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The Stoics held that real self-worth has to originate inside. Constant validation seekers are outsourcing their self-esteem to others, therefore exposing themselves to outside views, both positive and negative. At first, reassuring them could appear benign. Giving them the support they need could make you consider yourself as being friendly. But they grow more reliant on you the more you meet their desire for approval. It's like a trap. You become their emotional crutch, their go-to source for self-worth, and the moment you stop giving it, they might lash out, guilt-trip you, or make you feel as though it is your obligation to make them whole. This is an emotional tiredness masquerading as support, not a healthy dynamic. Those hooked to validation sometimes show certain trends. They question every choice they make and want comfort all the time. Do you think I acted morally? Are you sure I look fine? Do you truly believe I'm good at this? These are not sporadic questions. They are rather regular. No matter how much you reassure them, they always need more. Their self-worth is based just on the impressions of others. If someone criticizes them, their whole attitude falls. If someone compliments them, they feel on top of the world. External comments rather than their own inner confidence control their feelings. Always consulting others, especially on matters of personal nature, they struggle to make judgments without permission. They hesitate to act until they know others agree. Worse yet, they keep individuals involved by using guilt. They make you feel horrible if you ignore their need for validation. They say things such, "I guess I just don't matter," or "I knew you didn't really care." This is manipulation covered in insecurity. It's time to establish limits if you know someone in your life that fits this description. Help them to grow confident instead of always praising them. When they want comfort, guide them inward. If they ask, "Do you think I made the right choice?" Answer, "What do you think?" Help them to rely more on their own judgment than on others. Give up running the validation game. If you find yourself reassuring them all the time, stand back. Their self-esteem rests not on you. If they get offended when you refuse to confirm them, understand that their problem to resolve is not yours. Some people will refuse to progress regardless of your encouragement. It could be time to distance yourself if someone depends on you for their self-worth, even after you have worked to enable them to become independent. Marcus Aurelius once penned, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Someone is living in a vulnerable situation if their happiness depends on your continuous approval. And if you let them, they will gently draw you into that frailty. Safeguard your vitality. Help people who want to improve, but resist allowing yourself to be the emotional crutch for someone else. Mutual respect forms the foundation of a true friendship and a real relationship, not one person feeding the fears of another. Number 4. Secrets to use against others. Among the oldest instruments of control is gossip. Though it presents itself as innocuous talk, a whispered confidence between friends, in truth, it is a weapon, a tool used for control, influence, and chaos generation. If someone encourages you to divulge secrets or discuss others behind their backs on a regular basis, it is not just idle conversation. That is a test. They are asking how much you are ready to share, how readily you could be influenced, and most dangerously, how they might be able to turn your words against you going forward. You have entered a risky game the instant you engage. The Stoic founder Zeno of Citium famously remarked, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." Exaggerations, half-truths, and rumors generating needless tension and conflict, exactly what gossip feeds on. Those that engage in this kind of behavior are more concerned in control than in truth or resolution. They like to be the focus of attention, see tensions rising, and mix the pot. Often acting as if they are neutral or even helpful, they set drama and then back off to see the turmoil develop. But make no mistake, anyone who enthusiastically shares information on others will do the same to you the instant it serves them. Those who press you into providing personal information under the pretense of trust should particularly be avoided. Though in actuality they are stockpiling ammo, they may act as though confiding in them shows camaraderie. When the time is right, when they need leverage, when they just grow bored, they will turn your comments against you. They will distort your words, remove context, or turn others against you using it. The worst of all is also you have no defense since you freely provided the knowledge they required. How then do you manage people like this? The first step is basic. Avoid interacting. Refrain from gossip, from readily sharing your secrets, from assuming that someone delving into your personal life has good motives. Should they treat others poorly, you should expect the same treatment. If they try to pique your interest into a conversation, steer the discussion or stay neutral. What need is there to weep over parts of life? Seneca sagely asked. All of it asks for tears. Stated differently, life already presents enough challenges. There is no need to add needless drama to it. Refusing to participate in negative dialogues will help you to preserve your tranquility. If someone probes you for information, be evasive. Change the topic if they seem overly ready to talk about the life of other individuals. And if you observe a pattern of dishonesty, backstabbing, and manipulation, Be sure you get out of their group totally. Standing next to someone who depends on the fall from others has no honor. Walking away, choosing integrity over gossip, and refusing to be a pawn in someone else's game define real strength. Ultimately, character is revealed by what we refuse to say as much as by what we say. According to the Stoics, peace of mind only comes from our removing ourselves from pointless fighting. Remember this the next time someone pulls you into their web of secrets. If they are ready to violate someone else's confidence, they will also violate yours. Choose your language and the business you keep carefully. Number 5. Emotional dumping. Supporting someone through their challenges comes with a thin line, much as acting as their emotional dumping ground. Real friendship is listening, understanding, and lending help when it is needed. Some people, however, search for an emotional landfill where they may release their negativity without ever thinking about how it could impact the other person. These people prefer not to have answers. Advice is not what they want. They seldom even wish their circumstances to be better. They simply want to dump, that is, to pass their worries, anxiety, and troubles onto someone else so they could avoid bearing the weight alone. Marcus Aurelius reminds us sensibly, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Any relationship requires compassion, but not at the expense of your own welfare. Stoicism teaches us the need of emotional discipline, of controlling what we can and not letting outside influences define our inner condition. Someone is not acting in real friendship when they continually utilize you as their emotional outlet without consideration for your time, energy, or peace of mind. They are gathering, and if you carelessly, they will consume until nothing remains. Identifying emotional dumpers can be challenging since they usually pass for sensitivity. They will call out when they need consolation, vent constantly about the same problems without ever trying to improve, and leave you emotionally worn out following every contact. They never follow up with you. They inquire not how you're doing. The topic of the always is them, their hardships, their feelings, their never-ending troubles. Worse of all, they refuse solutions. Try to counsel them, they will ignore it. Try to create limits, they will cause you guilt. Their troubles are not something they want corrected. They merely want someone to absorb them. How then do you treat these folks? Set definite limits first. You are not obliged to be the emotional sponge for another person. Saying, I care about you but I can't take on all of this right now, is reasonable. Someone who respects you will be in line. Should they not, they will push back, guilt-trip you, or make you feel like a poor friend for not being always available. That is your response as well. Real friends never try to control. Second, understand that maintaining your energy is not selfish, it is rather essential. If someone succeeds in provoking you, Epictetus advised, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Stated differently, you regulate what you let into your mental field, particularly those who drain you without ever returning your time and effort. You owe nothing to anyone unfettered access to these resources. Know also when to turn away. Someone is not a real friend if they routinely dump their negativity on you without considering your well-being, or if they reject your limits without any thinking. Relationships should be in balance. They should elevate rather than drain. You have less room for those who really support and appreciate you the more emotional dumpers you let into your life. The Stoic view of personal responsibility. Everybody has personal obligations and battles to deal with. While helping others is admirable, carrying the weight of someone else's continual negativity is not. Make your peace. Choose your limits. Most crucial, also choose relationships based on mutual respect instead of one-sided emotional tiredness. Number 6. Unethical favors. Everybody wants to be of service to the ones they love. Supporting friends, relatives, or colleagues when they ask a favor is human nature. Not all favors, meantime, are benign. Some cost your character as well as your money. You are at a crossroads the instant someone orders you to act against your values, beliefs, or sense of right and wrong. Do you say yes to stay out of controversy, or do you say no steadfastly? Stoicism holds that the greatest good is virtue. The Stoics held that one's moral compass should not be compromised for selfish benefit or convenience. No man is free who is not master of self, Seneca said. Are you really in charge of your own life if you find yourself readily influenced by pressure from others? Freedom is about choosing the correct decisions, even if they are challenging, not only about what one does. Unethical favors can manifest themselves in several ways. Perhaps a friend asks you to lie for them. Perhaps it is a colleague asking you to cover for their errors in the office. Perhaps a family member is pressuring you into something that seems improper but is just this once. These events are perilous since they gradually erode your integrity one tiny bit at a time. Saying it's a minor matter, that nobody would notice, that you don't want to let the one asking downplay, you could help to excuse it. But you lose your sense of self-respect each time you compromise your ideals. The worst thing about it is saying yes once lets you unlock more doors. Those who seek unethical favors seldom stop at one demand. They push farther as they appreciate your flexibility. Before you realize it, you find yourself entangled in a web of concessions, each one somewhat more than the next. How therefore do you approach these circumstances? The response is straightforward. Set a strong limit and resist change. The individual asking will recognize a chance to convince you even as you hesitate. Should someone ask you to engage in unethical behavior, answer quickly and forcefully. Say, I am unable of doing that. I am not comfortable with that. There is no need for justification or defense here. Your values are not subject for discussion. Remember Epictetus's advice. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. If they try to pressure you, stated differently, others can object to your choice and perhaps criticize you for it. That is okay. Maintaining your integrity costs far more than their fleeting approbation. A person who really values you will not ask you to abandon your values. And someone trying to guilt-trip you into doing unethically is exposing their actual nature. If they become enraged when you say no, that is all the proof you need. They were never really your friend. Ultimately, your conscience belongs to you and needs protection. People seeking shortcuts and ready to follow the easy road at the price of morality will always abound in the world. However, simply because they are ready to go that road does not mean you have to as well. Remain strong. Maintain your moral integrity. Once you lose it, you might never be able to recover. Number 7. Free labor or services. Naturally, one wants to help a friend or relative in need. We are proud of our abilities and talents. Serving others with them can be quite rewarding. When that generosity becomes expectation, though, what follows? When people start to believe that your time, knowledge, and effort belong to them to take without question, this is where one can clearly distinguish between exploitation and compassion. Some people will view your abilities as an open resource, something they can access whenever they so want, without ever giving any thought to the worth of what they are consuming. Under the cover of friendship, they will come to you for free labor and use guilt, flattery, or manipulation to persuade you their demand is legitimate. They quickly become inaccessible, though, when the favor is turned. First of all, it could seem benign. Just as a small favor, a buddy asks you to create a logo, edit a movie, fix their computer, or offer business advice, you would be willing to help. One chore they value is this one. You at least believe they do, but it occurs once more later. Again, you soon will find yourself paid consultant, designer, mechanic, or therapist for them. The issue is not just the work itself, but also the lack of reciprocity and disrespect of your time. Whether they involve emotional support, time, money, or resources, true friendships and relationships are based on mutual exchange. Those who seek free labor, however, typically operate under an unstated belief. Your time is less valuable than theirs. Though they have no intention of reciprocating the benefit, they expect you to invest in them. Epictetus advised, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Often merely not wanting to spend their own resources, the folks who demand free work are not always in financial need. Rather than appreciating your knowledge, they view you as a shortcut, a means of cost control at your expense. The Stoics stressed the need of self-sufficiency and the need of establishing limits in contacts. Justice, honesty, and mutual respect, they thought, define virtue. Someone is not acting in virtue if they take from you constantly without returning. They are behaving out of entitlement and selfishness. Another great Stoic, Seneca, reminds us, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those you personally could help." Real relationships should be ones of mutual advantage, whereby both sides develop and assist one another. Someone does not merit your effort if they are always taking but providing nothing in return, not even thanks. One-sided relationships are indicated by someone only getting in touch when they need something. Note how often they follow up with you without asking for a favor. Should the response be never, that serves as your warning. No matter how modest the demand, you are not under any obligation to offer free labor. If asked, gently but firmly say, "I would love to help, but this is my livelihood. I charge amount for this service." Should their response be guilt-tripping, that is, "But we're pals. I believed you would be of assistance," stand strong. A real buddy would value your time rather than ask for it gratis. Someone was never really valuing you, just what they could take from you, if they value you only when you are giving them something for free. Respectful people will either discover ways to return your kindness in significant ways or offer to fairly pay you. Those that want anything for nothing, they are displaying their actual hues. One resource you cannot recover is time. Every hour you spend working for free at someone else's demand is one you could have spent working toward your own goals, engaging in important relationships, or developing yourself. Your expectation of value for your abilities, energy, and work makes you not selfish. Actually, letting others profit from you is a dishonesty against yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others, unless by so doing you secure some benefit. Respect your time. Others will either show that they never really did or learn to value it too." Number 8. Involvement in their drama. Everywhere you are drama seekers. They thrive on conflict and anarchy and will try to bring you into their mess. For a Stoic, peace of mind is more important than being dragged into pointless strife. "Not my circus, not my monkeys," reminds me. You are not bound to watch drama produced by others. Some folks live just for anarchy. Simply to have an audience, they cause strife, generate problems where none exist, and send people into their emotional storms. These drama seekers live on tension, gossip, and division. They are not interested in peace or closure. They draw people into their fights not because they require real assistance, but rather because they yearn for approval and attention. Their problems become more significant the more people they include. Actually, though, their drama is not your responsibility. Your objective as a Stoic is mental tranquility rather than entanglement in someone else's ceaseless cycle of struggle. Many times, drama seekers will hide their control as benign ranting or advice-seeking behavior. Hoping you will take their side, they will present one side of the story, that of the victim, and someone else as the villain. Expecting you to defend them without doubt, they could push you into choosing loyalty above reason. If you pay close attention, though, you will find a trend. This is not the first time, nor the last. The screenplay stays the same. Constant difficulties, constant disputes, and persistent demands for your engagement, even if the participants in their personal soap opera might change. Marcus Aurelius sagely counseled, "You control your mind, not outer events." Understand this, and you will discover strength. You are not obliged to get involved in the emotional turmoil of someone else. Drama absorbs you more the more often you participate in it. It saps your will, distorts your judgment, and pulls you away from what really counts. Someone who draws you into their problems all the time is not looking out for your welfare. They are using you as a weapon to intensify their conflicts. The worst element is also they will either turn on you or ignore you completely the moment you stop being of benefit to them. Associate with those who will make a better man of you, Seneca exhorts us. Ask yourself if someone often brings conflict and unhappiness into your life. Is this relationship fostering personal development? Does this make me a better person? Should the response be no, it's best to back off. How, therefore, can one prevent becoming caught up in pointless drama? Recognize the warning signals first. Be careful if someone talks about problems all the time, enjoys gossip, or always carries an enemy. Second, create limits. You are not required to support one side in the conflicts of others. Just say, "I don't want to get involved," and walk away from it. Finally, guard your quiet. Not every debate calls for a response, nor every issue calls for your involvement. Steer clear of negativity and surround yourself with people that provide stability and knowledge instead of upheaval and worry. Ultimately, your mental clarity and well-being are far more worth than someone else's never-ending turmoil. Number 9. Choosing sides in conflicts. This one is crucial. Those who try to make you pick sides in their disputes are more likely seeking approval than they are peace. Real friends won't make you choose between them and someone else. It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them, Epictetus advises. When at all possible, keep your distance from needless conflicts that would compromise your peace. One of the most taxing and separating things you can do is deciding sides in another person's conflict. Those who try to push you into these circumstances are more concerned with affirmation and reinforcement that their perspective is the correct one than with solutions. Actually, regardless of the facts or the background, they are hoping for you to support them and pick them over the opposing party. This is a deceptive strategy meant to keep you caught in their own conflicts. It is not a sign of a good relationship. True friends never put you in a situation where you have to decide which of them to hang around with or someone else. They believe you can keep your own viewpoint free from emotional entanglement with their problems. As Epictetus wisely noted, it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Here, the important thing is perspective. When prompted to take sides, your emotional response, that of opinion, may cause you to enter unwarranted conflict and separation. In the big picture, though, most problems are not yours to resolve. You run not just losing your tranquility, but also losing objectivity when you become caught in the drama of others. Emotions obscure your judgment, and soon you could find yourself emotionally engaged in a circumstance that, over time, does not support your development. These circumstances are the very core of distraction. They take you away from concentrating on your own objectives and priorities, and involve you in a conflict unrelated to your welfare. How then should one handle these circumstances? Initially, remain objective. Offering empathy is fine even if you shouldn't get involved in side projects. One can show understanding without supporting either side. Second, define a clear limit. Tell someone you are not going to pick sides if they try to push you into their argument. Although I want to help you and value both of you, I believe it would be unhealthy for me to get engaged. This indicates that although you are preserving your peace, you nevertheless show compassion and kindness. Third, remind yourself that actual friends will value your choice to stay out of the way. Someone who becomes agitated when you refuse to take sides is obviously not really seeking a solution. They merely want someone to confirm their point of view. From the Stoic point of view, your inner tranquility is the most vital quality you can develop. Ultimately, it's about choosing not to allow drama and strife disturb your mental state, rather than about which side you support. Marcus Aurelius stated, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." You protect your emotional well-being and transcend the small arguments by being impartial. Keep your attention on the things that really count and resist allowing others drag you into their personal conflicts. And that concludes it. Regarding safeguarding your time, energy, and mental health, these 9 warning signals are absolutely vital. The Stoics remind us that real happiness comes from inside, and that involves avoiding poisonous people. Marcus Aurelius said, correctly, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Select your connections carefully to guard your peace." Should you find value in today's video, be sure to thumbs up it, forward it to someone who would benefit from it, and remember to subscribe for more perceptive material. Thank you for viewing. Keep in mind, guard your energy, set limits, and live by your ideals. See each other and yourself